So I bought one of those fancy new body fat scales, the kind where you hold the little handles and it pretends to know everything about you. And while it did flatter me with a metabolic age of 33, which we love, the real reason I bought it was to track my body fat percent. Because even though daily weigh-ins can give you some insight, let's be real. Weight alone is kind of a lazy metric for fat loss, especially when you're losing fat the right way by building more muscle. Because muscle is what helped me land that youthful metabolic score in the first place. But it turns out, this scale, yeah, it's a dirty little liar. Because I was walking around thinking I was chilling at 20 to 22% body fat until I got a DEXA scan, and let's just say that number didn't even start with a 2. So the bad news is I had about 10 pounds of fat to lose just to get to a body fat percentage that I find acceptable, especially with all of the work that I put in. But the good news is that scan gave me a wake-up call and the exact numbers I needed to build a plan that won't take an entire pregnancy cycle to finish. Because seriously, when I first put my numbers into ChatGPT to form a plan I actually wanted to follow, that thing was coming back with me not getting the results I wanted until January. And it was late January at that. If you've been watching my daily videos, then you know I've already started walking 10 miles a day to speed up my plan. Yes, you heard right. 10 freaking miles. But let's not kid ourselves. Just because I'm logging more miles than a New York dog walker, that doesn't mean that I can eat like an unsupervised teenager at Golden Corral. So now that I'm in what I call birthday fat loss mode, my plan is to drop 10 pounds of fat in 10 weeks, just in time for my birthday at the end of July, which gives you plenty of time to shop, by the way. That's a pace of about 1 pound of fat per week, which I think is slow enough for my perimenopausal body to handle without handing me a migraine as a daily parting gift. So in this video, I'll show you exactly how I'm eating 150 grams of protein inside of 1900 calories, the strength training and walking plan I'm sticking to, and the week 1 results that prove this strategy is already working, even without cutting out everything I love or pretending I enjoy lettuce wraps. Before we dive into the part that actually drives 90% of your results, which is what you eat, let me show you how my workouts have shifted now that I'm focused purely on fat loss. But first, let me take you back. Because once upon a time, I believed that cardio, followed by more cardio, was the golden ticket to fat loss. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. It was more like a never-ending hamster wheel of weight loss, followed by a boomerang of putting back on every last pound even faster than I could say death by elliptical. So a few years back, I switched gears and made strength training my main focus. And while it didn't melt the fat off overnight, it did help me build enough muscle to actually change my body shape and finally eat like an adult without gaining weight just from breathing near a cookie. So eating more while lifting more is a strategy that finally worked. And it's still my foundation because I love the body I built while not having to live in a calorie prison. But since my recent DEXA scan showed that I built more muscle than the average woman my age, for now I'm pivoting. Not forever, just for a few weeks, to go all in on fat loss, which means I'm not trying to build more muscle, at least at the moment. But I am trying to keep every ounce I worked so hard to earn, which is why I'm still hitting my protein target and strength training, just with less frequency. I've scaled back my workouts to 1 to 2 full body sessions each week, because that's really all you need to maintain muscle, especially when your calories are lower and your stress is high. So let's talk numbers. Sure, every calorie calculator out there says that I should eat 1600 calories a day to lose fat. But 1600 calories feels like a punishment that'll leave me chewing my arm off by 4 p.m. So I'm aiming for a more realistic 18 to 1900 calories per day. And since I don't want to slash more, that means I've got to move more, which is where my 20,000 steps a day challenge comes in. Yes, I know, it sounds like I have officially lost it. But before you freak out, I'm not saying you have to walk 10 miles a day if you want to lose weight, because you don't. I will repeat, you do not need to walk 10 miles a day to lose fat. No one does, not even me. But you do need to be in a calorie deficit. And for me, walking more just feels way better than eating less. And because I've already been averaging 11,000 steps for years, jumping to 20,000 is just my next level. Plus, as a bonus, I get way more creative ideas when I'm walking. So if I happen to be posting more videos and ranting about fat loss like an over-caffeinated coach, now you know why. It's all of the walking. Walking is what fuels the madness. But beyond creativity, there's something else walking has done for me, something that I didn't expect. It's finally quenched my out of control appetite. Before implementing this new routine, I struggled eating under 2,200 calories a day. But now I can hit 1,800 and still feel like a functioning human. And that, my friends, is a win. But if walking is the supporting role in this story, my main character is what's on my plate. So let's talk about food, because that's where most of your fat loss results actually come from. Since I don't want to lose a single ounce of muscle during this fat loss phase, I start every day strong with protein and then keep that protein train rolling through every meal. Now, because I'm the neighborhood certified crazy step lady, I've been popping out of bed at 5:30 like a woman on a mission, instead of pretending to sleep until 6:30 while actually doom scrolling Instagram. Because this girl's got miles to log. And since I'm already fully caffeinated before the sun even comes up, mornings are my sweet spot for steps. But I'm not exactly hungry at the butt crack of dawn, literally. So I pop some caffeine, lace up, and head out for a sunrise stroll. After a full neighborhood tour, saying hello to every owl and bird that woke me up at 5 a.m., I'm usually back home with 7,000 steps already under my belt. Since I'm still not super hungry, I whip up my go-to protein shake. Today's flavor is chocolate caramel banana. I toss in 4 ounces of coconut milk, 4 ounces of water, half a banana, 1 scoop of Eclipse salted caramel protein powder, 5 grams of cacao, and 5 grams of creatine plus some ice. Then I blend and sip while doing a little red light therapy, because I'm bougie like that, followed by some light stretching in front of the red glow like I'm trying to absorb some superhero powers. Then I hop on my desk treadmill for an hour-long walk and work sesh. By 9 or 10, my appetite finally shows up like, hey, remember me? So I toast a slice of Dave's Killer Bread, spray it with a little cooking oil, sprinkle on some garlic powder like it's my favorite fairy dust, and get it crisped up. While that's working its magic, I weigh out 3.5 ounces of boar's head honey turkey and a third ounce of cheese. Once toasted, I pile on the turkey and cheese, then I let it all melt together in the toaster oven. While that's happening, I grab 2 ounces of blueberries and 4 ounces of strawberries, which gives me a super satisfying side that's low in calories but high in volume. That meal holds me over while I either get back to work or make my kids 742 snacks, because apparently 741 just isn't enough to fill them up. Lunch is one of my absolute favorites, a buffalo chicken wrap. I cook 5 ounces of spicy barely naked chicken in the air fryer. While that's crisping, I throw half an ounce of cheese on a low-calorie wrap and let it toast. Which, as a side note, you may have noticed I only use third ounce of cheese for breakfast and half ounce of cheese for lunch. And that's not a fluke. It's just me saving calories without ditching all of the gooey cheese I love. Once the chicken's done, I dice it up and weigh it, because the cooked weight matters and macros don't lie. Add that chicken to the wrap, top it with half an ounce of sour cream, lettuce, and onions, and boom. It's as good as a wrap I'd order out with only half the calories. And that combo keeps me full through my afternoon walk, which leads me right into my afternoon snack, which is a little unconventional, because one of my go-tos is a big bowl of ranch popcorn. Even though it's not a high-protein snack, the volume and the fiber keep me full and my fingers busy. While this works for me, if a low-protein snack like popcorn spikes your hunger, pair it with a few slices of meat or swap it out entirely. Tonight's dinner is one of my new favorite recipes added to my high-protein meal plan, French onion sloppy joes. To make these in under 20 minutes, I first caramelize onions with a dab of butter and a teaspoon of sugar over medium heat. Stir occasionally so they don't char, like all of your hopes and dreams after your last low-carb diet attempt. While that's cooking, I brown 2 pounds of 93% lean ground beef and season it with garlic powder, onion powder, salt, and pepper. Drain if needed, though with 93% beef, usually it doesn't really need it. Then I stir in Worcestershire sauce, however you say that word, plus some soy sauce, and let it simmer for 5 minutes. While that simmers, I prep the buns. I spray them with cooking oil, sprinkle with garlic powder, and add cheese. I use raw cheddar because dairy apparently hates me, and my husband gets picante provolone that is so stinky you can probably smell it through the screen. Once melted, I pile on 5 ounces of the beef mix and a tablespoon of homemade French onion dip, which I just whipped up from sour cream plus a French onion dip seasoning. And even though crispy garlic green beans would make a great low-calorie side, I actually never made it to the grocery store today. So I'll have to settle for half an ounce of sour cream and onion chips, which fit into my calorie budget, so I'm okay with the swap. For dessert, tonight I'll just go with a Yasso bar since I'm still a little short on my protein target. And these bars add 5 grams of protein and only 100 calories. Now, if walking 10 miles a day sounds completely insane, which, trust me, many days it also feels insane, then trimming dessert calories is a great place to start. Or you could ditch the bun or chips at dinner, or skip the popcorn snack. Whichever is easiest to stick to the deficit that works for you without feeling like you just need to walk all day, every day, even in your sleep. For me, I'm still choosing to walk, for now, because that may change at any moment. Now that you see how I'm eating and moving to drop a pound of fat a week, let's get into week one's results, which honestly were way better than I expected, especially since I ate out for nearly 3 full days this week. That makes me think all of this walking might actually be doing a little something something after all. Now, I won't pretend to know how many calories I average, because how does one calculate the calories in a brisket sandwich that's the size of her head? And while I usually try to estimate calories whenever I eat out, I don't track while on vacation. And that's what these 2 days right here were. As for this day, it was a bit of a mess, but still I did my best at an all-day pizza and pasta buffet that I didn't plan to stay at for 8 hours, so we'll just leave it at that. But even with all of that, I still somehow managed to drop 1.2 pounds on the scale with a 1.77% drop in body fat. Not that I'm back to trusting my lying liar of a scale, but I do like watching the body fat trends. And with nearly a 2% drop, I'll count that as a big win for the week. Since all of us are still figuring this fat loss thing out as we go, and my feet still aren't 100% convinced that all of this walking is worth a 1.2 pound drop, even after all of those days of eating out, I'll be back next week with another update. Until then, you can watch this video next. I show you how I eat for an entire week of fat loss over 40, plus the typical workout schedule I usually follow if all of this insane walking isn't your vibe.